Spoilers and offensive content to come.
Wishing on a dream that seems far off, hoping it will come today.
And we're copyright struck.
Yeah. Oh no. Game Arts has us. They've captured us in their lunar web. This is Two Fat Guys Talk, episode 120. The official title is the Mid Not-E3 2020 discussion and things that are upcoming and also the things in the middle that happen because game shows are still happening, but lots happen, so we want to talk about them. Show. I'm Carlos.
This is Dave.
So before we get to it, I want to do a couple shout-outs, if that's cool to you.
Fire away.
I've shouted out them before, but I want to shout out again Platforms and Pitfalls, a podcast done by friend of the show, Rowan, and not yet friend of the show, but maybe one day, Blue. They actually shouted us out.
Oh, nice.
Because they've incorporated voicemail now into their podcast. And they shouted out Two Fat Guys Talk as their inspiration for having done so. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to them because Platforms and Pitfalls is just the most amazing look at game design podcast out there. Are way better than us. Anyway, if you go listen to them and you don't come back, I'm not even going to be surprised. But I wanted to shout out an older podcast that I don't think is around anymore because when they shouted us out saying that, hey, we got the idea from voicemail, from you guys for the voicemail, I'm like, well, we got the idea originally from the Pixel Response / Burning Barrel podcast because they used to be called Pixel Response and Burning Barrel. I don't think they're around anymore. I was actually a guest on that podcast twice. This was pre-Gamergate though, and I think the way I behaved online when I was in my condemned Gamergate phase turned them away. Exposure, if you're still out there and you listen, shout outs. You're always a cool dude. But we got the voicemail idea from that podcast, so we need to give the appropriate shout-outs. Regardless, I'll have links in the description to Platforms and Pitfalls where you can send them voicemail and where you can partake in just a great look at gaming and game design with Rowan and Blue. And now with that done, let's talk about the Not-E3 2020.
This has been... Okay, let's face it. This has been a very weird year from the get-go.
Oh, for sure. A lot of 2020 has been interesting, to say the least.
To be polite.
We are in polite company, therefore we will not speak ill of the year.
Oh, I have many bad things to say about this year, but it is funny how what happens during E3 is kind of still happening. That the push towards digital formats has only been hastened by this year, and how E3, this may have been the final nail in the coffin that is E3.
We talked about it a bit last time, and I didn't really believe it then, but even in this middle of Summer of Gaming 2020, where we still have more presentations to come, I have to say that I've been enjoying myself watching what I've watched so far, which I don't normally do. And most surprising of all is that I want to play a lot of things. Normally, I come out of an E3, the average E3 presentation, I come out of it either cynical or okay with the spectacle of it, but not really wanting to play anything that was shown to me. This time, even from the big AAA stuff, there's a good percentage of titles I not only want to play, but in some cases, titles that were announced and released same day that I've already bought. And this is shocking to me. This summer, this Not-E3 has made me kind of excited for video game hype again. I don't know if that's because there's a lot more indies. I don't know if it's because the AAA games have started to incorporate elements that I want in them, which we'll get to in a moment with PlayStation. But it has been an exciting time, honestly.
It's funny because it can't be because, or it can't only be because these are all just digital shows now. I mean, if these were being done at E3, you'd like to think that you'd still be excited about the same stuff. But their focus may have been very different in the usual live spectacle that we're used to. The format may have been completely different where, like, you and I are okay with them bringing up the developer, saying a couple words, and then getting on to showing the game.
As long as they don't talk for very long.
Or just show us the game and talk along with it. But in a live show, that's not usually what happens. The dev comes out there, they talk about their inspirations, their team. You know, for a 5-minute segment that has 2 minutes of trailer maybe, or even maybe only 30 seconds, you still have that time where you're like, okay, guys, yeah, I like your games. You're awesome. I'm sorry, but we're not here to see you. We're here to see what you're bringing to us.
I think you hit the nail on the head with focus. These digital events have a focus to them that I greatly appreciate. I know I always sing the praises about Nintendo Directs, even when I don't want to play a lot of the things in them, because I like watching them. I genuinely, even when there are no games I care about, genuinely, usually like watching them. It's a digital presentation where I'm getting all the snippets of stuff to make a decision, and I'm generally having fun with it. And I get that vibe, even though the PlayStation presentation felt very E3-ish. Mm-hmm. The fact that it had that focus and it didn't always have the camera zooming away to the audience or hearing the applause of people who may or may not be genuinely excited about things. It just showed me everything I wanted to see out of this. The fact that I want to play a bunch of this shit is gravy. But good gravy. Tasty gravy, which is a sauce.
Sure. And I think right there you've nailed one of the really big things I hate every year, is that I'm here to watch the presentation. I'm not here to watch you literally turn away from the ongoing trailer, which is awesome, to give me a crowd shot. I do not give two shits if the crowd is full, or if they're cheering, or whatever else. I care about the trailer they're showing. Stop fucking moving away from it. I don't care. No one cares.
I'm sure there are some people that care, but not me, and not you.
Like, have 2 streams. One with that shit, one without.
And there's still more to come. I have a feeling that on the 23rd, the New Game Plus Expo is going to blow me away. I actually am very excited, but I do have a section here for what's upcoming, so I'll save it for then.
Fair enough.
Shall we talk about... I was going to talk about them in order, because I typed up and printed some stuff, and my list format is the name of the show, some points, and then a little list called Carlos Wants More Of, which are games that I either absolutely want to play right now, or I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely interested and I want to see more.
Let's start with Sony.
PlayStation 5, The Future of Gaming show. This one aired on June 11th. I thought it started weak by showing Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm like, oh great, another iteration of Grand Theft Auto 5. And there were some weak moments throughout, like Bug Snacks, which was just stupid.
See,
I wasn't charmed by Bug Snacks and the NBA stuff.
See,
but hang on. Otherwise, super good. Easily the best Sony thing I've seen in years.
Yes, this was a actually good Sony show.
I was surprised.
I wasn't, because they didn't feel the need to put into spectacle.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 4 or 5 Sony shows at E3 have been, live music to play the music going through the trailer, the spectacle of things. That's why the last live one they did was so bad, because they've let themselves delve too much into the spectacle versus the substance of the show.
This was mostly substance.
This was substance. Now, yes, we got the spec part of the show, but we expected that because this is the first showing of the PlayStation 5.
Which looks like a router.
Which looks like a big router. Yes.
I have no problem with it.
Not at all.
I know some friends of the show hate it. I've heard of nobody who loves it except Angry Joe. Angry Joe, I watched his reaction. He was gushing over this thing. It's like, it's so futuristic. And I don't think he was being sarcastic either. He might have been. Angry Joe, shout me out. I think you have a nice ass.
Well, here's the thing. When you look at each of the systems on their own, it does look the most future sci-fi kind of looking. It really does. I mean, you
know what it looks like? It looks like Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah. I won't argue that, but this is okay. You can do something funky with how your system works. My biggest worry was that it wasn't going to have a horizontal mode to it.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like it was made for vertical standing. But it does have the ability to go horizontal.
I saw little nubbies. You could lay it down.
And that, honestly, that matters to me because I literally don't have any shelf space that I could do it vertical.
I think that's a legit concern because I also would have to lay it down. Or make a lot of awkward room somewhere.
Yeah.
I like that the disc version and the discless version look very consistent with each other.
Yeah.
And that the disc version has just a little bump for the disc tray. Even though I'm mostly a digital guy, I would probably get the disc version, just have that option. But I do like that there's a digital only, a way to cut costs for people who don't want discs.
Yes, and they've got to be careful here. Because they've got to make sure that the disc version isn't lessened by using a disc version, aka read and write time slowing down, access, things like that. Like, you can't just suddenly start having developers making the discless version better.
No, you can.
No, you can't.
You can, just so I can rub it in your face.
So Sony's show was, I think, the best thing they've done in years.
Oh yeah, it was good, and I actually, which I'll get to in a moment, there's a bunch of stuff here I actually want to play.
And that's just it. The one Sony show surprised me even more on the fact that a number of the PS5 games they showed this year also were PS5 and PC. Now, I have no doubt if Sony could have gotten exclusives on those games, they would have. But the companies that are making those games are not ones that put up with that. They are ones that realize that they make a hell of a lot of money from PC gaming, and therefore weren't going to do that.
They still got some key exclusives. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Returnal, which I'll talk about in a moment, but I just want to say that was kind of the... Returnal, in a way, represents how I thought about this whole thing, not just the PlayStation show, but all the ones we've seen so far. It's this game that starts like it's going to be some cinematic experience. And then the middle-aged woman protagonist, by the way, shout-outs to middle-aged women being protagonist of an action game, no less, starts fighting what I can only describe as Dark Souls abominations shooting near bullet spreads. And I'm like, whoa, this was good, and I misjudged. But I should have known better because that was Housemarque, and they did Super Stardust HD and Resogun, but I didn't click on that. Do you want to talk about some of the games in that show before we go on to the next one?
Yes. So, the ultimate highlight for me was Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, Horizon 2 Forbidden West, which every other place in... To me, I thought the title was Horizon 2 Forbidden West because it says Horizon, there's a 2 in it, then Forbidden West. But nobody else says it like that. Nope. Everyone's saying Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which sounds wrong.
Yeah, because Zero Dawn was the title. Yeah. Like, everybody thinks that it's Horizon Zero Dawn as one full title. But no, it's Horizon colon Zero Dawn. That was its subtitle. So this is Horizon Forbidden West. And this game looks amazing. When they went underwater...
That water looks amazing.
Like, the one thing that you and I agreed on as far as that one pirate game from a few years ago.
Sea of Thieves, which is still around. Amazing water.
Amazing water effects. And now that I've played it, oh yeah, it's amazing water effects. That's all.
That's it. All it has going for it.
Move it on. So, making Horizon Forbidden West one of their key trailers for the PlayStation 5 makes sense even if we're not going to see it until 2021.
Oh no, that makes absolute sense. It was for the longest time a PlayStation exclusive. And a game that this is one of those games that are on my backlog and will be played because the only thing that kept me from getting there is that I was playing Breath of the Wild for the longest time. And you sent that webcomic around the I forget the name of that webcomic, but it's the one where it's like, here's Horizon Forbidden West. Here you go, asshole. Now you gotta feel guilty about not having finished Zero Dawn. And I'm like, hey, I feel personally attacked by this because this is me.
Yeah.
Same thing with Spider-Man Miles Morales. I have to get to Spider-Man PS4.
So do I. And I feel bad not having played Spider-Man up till now, but there have been literally other things on my plate. Something to mention about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Mm-hmm. This is its own game.
Yeah, there was some confusion about that.
An expansion. It's not a... They mentioned that this was using an upgrade of the first Spider-Man game. They meant the engine. Not that it was a DLC expansion to Spider-Man.
It's its own thing.
It's its own full game.
It looks good so far of what little we've seen of it. And we know it's going to be good.
I trust them after the... Even though I haven't played it, I've watched it being played.
I have played a bit of Infamous, and even though that wasn't my cup of tea, it felt good enough. And that's why I know when I get to Spider-Man, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Cris Tales.
Cris Tales is a game that's appeared on like 17 different showcases. I actually have it as part of my PC gaming one, but we can talk about it now. I have been following Cris Tales, as you are well aware, for a while now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a love letter to JRPGs, but also with a modern kind of, a modern and very cartoony art style. It's made in South America, from what I understand. The main character, Chris Bell, the developer said she kind of looks like what a Disney princess would look like if she was Colombian. Like, cool. I love her. I love that. It's supposed to be a time travel or JRPG in the vein of Chrono Trigger, but time is actually something you get to use in combat. Like, you can say, send an orc, you can impact time so that an orc gets older and they'll become more frail, but they'll also gain access to a powerful spell that they only learn when they're older. And when you travel through towns, you see little slices of the screen, one for past, one for future, and you can see how your actions have an effect on it. It looks gorgeous, and it looks like it plays really good, too. Cris Tales has been one I've been following for a bit.
I haven't, but this game looks neat, and it'll be definitely one that I buy.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I would buy it, what platform I would get it on, but it's going to get purchased somewhere, for sure.
My default... Whenever a game is multi-platform, if it includes PC, I go PC. Mainly because it's my main gaming system. But I would have no problem playing a game like that on my PS4.
I tend to go to the Switch if I can, just because we have two docks in our house, and the Switch really is something that we use both docked and portable.
Yeah.
In fact, I bought those Demon X Machina handles, and they're great. So if the Switch version comes out at the same time as the others, I'll probably get it for that, assuming it's just as good.
Demon's Souls remake. Now this one's kind of up in the air. It's gonna be Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
It's really more of a graphical update with more modern mechanics put into it. But do you call that a remake, or do you call that an upgrade?
No, is it a remake or a port? It's probably going to be a remake. I played the original Demon's Souls a criminally small amount. I basically started playing it, and then for a wide variety of reasons, I didn't have my PS3 set up the way it was anymore, so I stopped.
Yeah.
The fact that I couldn't pause the game turned me off as well. But otherwise, I thought it was really, really fun, and definitely turned me onto the Souls-like stuff. So, I like that there's a remake coming out.
I had to rent that game twice.
Okay.
The first time I rented it, I got 5 minutes into the game, frustrated, didn't touch it. Realized what I was doing wrong, and rented it a second time, or maybe it was given to me free on PS3 or whatever else. But the second time I played it for a number of hours, and then I got frustrated with the map. I got into the underground catacombs that had the giant spider boss. And I killed the spider boss, but navigating that map was a massive pain in the ass. And I was like, okay, I've had my fun. Moving on.
I've heard people say that the Souls games are what the NES Castlevania games would have become if they were turned 3D. And I would argue that that's right, because they present you with very solid mechanics and controls, and they ask you to be good at them because the game will murder you if you're not.
Yeah. Or I even go as far as maybe saying maybe that could have been the future of Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, like Ninja Gaiden, it's funny because even on the NES, we got to see like Ninja Gaiden 1 was super hard, but then by the time 2 and 3 come along, he can freely climb walls, and he has so many tools that make the game a lot easier, but still brutal.
Yes.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying. If we ignore the 3D ones.
Which
were also brutally difficult.
Yeah, for various reasons. Like, the Castlevania ones could be brutal, but that was because the maps were poorly put together, encounters weren't well thought out. And really, the Castlevania 3D ones, and by that I mean the 2 newest ones.
Oh, you mean Lords of Shadow?
Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, huh? Which were really character action games with Castlevania in them.
Yeah, honestly, those games should have been Dark Souls.
Maybe they should have.
If they had been done Dark Souls-ish in the same way that the most recent Star Wars game was and things of that nature, I think Lords of Shadow would still be going on now.
I still played through all of Lords of Shadow and had a good time. It's never something I'd revisit, and I don't want to play the second one.
Yeah. The Village. Resident Evil 8.
So Resident Evil is one of those series that I love watching but don't care to play. And I'm going to have a lot of fun watching this one because I liked watching 7. I had a feeling that as I was watching it, I was like, what is this Resident Evil shit? And then I saw the Umbrella logo, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it is Resident Evil.
But even before that, in our chat...
Someone in our chat
was like, is this Resident Evil? Even before the logo came up. And it doesn't surprise me. I started and I finished my Resident Evil game playing with 4. And I have tried to play that game again. I've got it on multiple systems and I've just given up. Because I played that originally on the GameCube. Had loads of fun with it. Because it was, up until the remakes of 1, 2, and 2 here recently, it was the best Resident Evil game. They moved it into the next generation. It was atmospheric, but still had action to it. It was a good game at the time. It has not aged well, especially in its controls. 7, I really like the fact they went back to the horror genre of it. But again, I didn't want to play it. I watched it. 8 will be the exact same thing for me. It's just Resident Evil has come and gone in my game-playing lexicon.
It was still cool. It was cool to see Cris again.
Cris has been hitting the weights.
Yeah, he's also been hitting the cynicism weights.
Yeah.
Good one. Master joke maker, Carlos Faro, ladies and gentlemen.
Capcom's Pragmata.
Yeah, I legit thought I was looking at Death Stranding 2. I thought, Is this Death Stranding 2? And then the astronaut went up in space and the little girl, and then I was like, oh, this is Kojima. If Kojima's not part of this, I'll be shocked.
And he wasn't.
It was a Capcom game.
Well, I mean, at first I was like, okay, is this Horizon 3, 4, 5, or a sub-story or something? Because the whole taking a
right, because Horizon's a post-apocalypse.
Yeah, taking that whole scan of the area and then having that kid there and everything else, right up to the point of grabbing the kid's hand and moving with them. It was like doing a scan in Horizon. So I'm like, what? Are they doing 2 games right now? And then it's like Capcom, and it's like, wait. When did this game get the right to not suck? Because I was still on the same thing with you. Death Stranding 2, it's like, no, this can't be. This game looks too good.
I still don't know how interested I am. I still don't know how anything I am. I want to see more.
What we got there was kind of like the 2001: A Space Odyssey trailer.
You
had no fucking idea what was going on, what the idea was. It was just like, what the fuck?
It reminds me of a friend of mine once said that the first time they watched Dark City, they went into the theater after the narrator explained what was going on, and then they sat down.
Yeah.
So they had no idea what the fuck was happening that whole movie.
That would suck.
Because we were watching it, and he paused it, and he's like, Carlos, this is the part where I first started watching it in the theater.
Oh my!
Like, oh no!
You need that context.
That little bit of exposition really was necessary.
Ghostwire Tokyo Combat.
Yeah, that's the one that Bethesda's publishing that had the cool Japanese lady whose name I don't remember, who I want to be my future wife, but in a non-creepy way, Carlos?
This one's coming to PC, and I'm so happy for that.
Mm-hmm. It looks ambitious.
Yes.
There's no shortage of ambition. It's one of those games that I'm pretty sure I'm just going to wish it well. As in, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think it's going to be for me. It looks ambitious, though. I may watch someone play through it. I'm not sure yet.
Now, I didn't actually... I lost the title to this one, but it was one of the final games they showed on there. It was the one by the Dishonored crew.
Was it the time loop one with the blaxploitation people killing each other? Yeah, that's Deathloop, all one word.
See, Deathloop's another one that's coming to PC, and I'm so happy for that. But I could tell it was from the guys behind Dishonored, because the powers were like, oh, come on, this is Dishonored 3!
Deathloop was the second time loop game that they showed that inexplicably also looked like something I want to play.
Yeah.
A common theme there.
I like the idea they're going with there. I think what's going to make or break that one is, at least for me, if they do it as a roguelike, it's going to break it for me. If they do it as the levels are set up a certain way, but based on how you do things, enemies can move around like they actually would in a kind of scenario like that, I'd like it a lot more.
I'm expecting something that is similar to the Groundhog Day genre games that come out now and then, so yeah. I don't know if that's going to be your cup of tea. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. That was a weird one to show because it's been in development for a while. In fact, it was shown last year.
Yeah, I heard that, but don't remember.
And it's not coming out until 2022, I believe.
Yeah, the devs, take your time, please. Don't crunch.
And I've got one other game here, but it wasn't actually part of the Sony show.
Okay, so the games that I want more of that you haven't already mentioned...
What did I miss?
...are Project Athia from Square Enix, that concept platformer that they showed.
Okay.
And knowing Square Enix, the title of this game is probably going to end up being either Athia or Project Athia. Returnal, which I mentioned before, but how smart game about middle-aged astronaut woman fighting Dark Souls bullet hell monsters. I am super looking forward to that. I think that one is the one I'm most looking forward to out of the PlayStation games. This next one was actually shown on a couple of the showcases, but first appeared here. Kena, Bridge of Spirits.
Oh, yes.
The game where it kind of looks like Zelda, where you're playing the Avatar, but she's also Pikmin controller. Yes. That one looks a little neat. Solar Ash by the Hyperlife Drifter devs.
That one
The one where you're surfing into the sun and you meet the dark entity and you're surfing around.
See, that one didn't interest me as much because I wasn't a big fan of their last game, so...
And the last one that I have that you hadn't mentioned was Little Devil Inside, which gave me big Breath of the Wild vibes.
Right.
PlayStation, solid show. More of this, please.
Yeah, definitely more of this format. They held back giving us a price. Because I'm pretty sure right now Sony and Microsoft are basically looking over a table at each other, waiting for the first one to blink and go first.
Basically.
I figure this system is going to be $500 American.
Sony always tries to do this, and then they always get owned and then lower their price.
I don't see Microsoft going lower than that either, to be honest.
We'll see. Microsoft has done good and evil lately, so...
One or two things to mention about the PS5 itself. Number one, that fucking hard drive is too small.
How big is the hard drive again?
850 gig.
And that's too small?
It really is.
For a guy like you who doesn't buy digital copies of games?
It doesn't matter when they're dropping 3/4 of the disc onto the hard drive.
Sure, but I mean... I don't know, that seems like more than enough room for me, and most of my games are going to be digital.
See, I worry about that, because when you've got games... Now, granted, you and I are not military shooter players in a great deal. We pretty much max out at Gears of War. And the occasional Halo title. But when you've got games like Modern Warfare being 80 to 100 gig for a single title... all of a sudden, that 850 gig is not enough, especially seeing as Microsoft is going with the 1 terabyte drive right off the bat, with the ability to do another hard drive as well.
Maybe devs should optimize their fucking games so they're not at the fucking 100 gigs.
Well, that would be nice, but I think we lost that war. I mean, hell, even Doom Eternal was 60 gigs.
This is unacceptable.
Well, okay.
Bring back the floppy. Make people fit their games onto 1.44 megs.
No, you see, if we are going to say that these games look amazing, I mean, these textures are not small anymore to pull off the graphics that, say, Doom Eternal does. We're not talking Super Mario 1 here anymore.
Not compress the fucking textures! Who cares? There was an MMO that I signed up for the beta for.
Uh-huh.
And I got a notice, and I went onto their forum, and there was someone complaining about how they're getting low frame rates of 50 to 70 frames per second. I have never wanted to powerbomb a person more than when I read that. Compress the textures!
This was PC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who cares?
Okay.
And no, I don't actually care who does care.
No, I've got to talk about this now.
God damn it!
When, especially on PC now, when you've got monitors that are being sold at 120 hertz, 144 hertz, etc., you're setting that expectation that you can pull those off when you're selling hardware that can do it. When you're selling video cards that are saying that you should be able to get these sort of frame rates on the $3,000 monitor you just paid for. I'm not saying it's smart or anything else. You're setting an expectation that these things can meet these, in many cases, very unrealistic goals. Because not only do they want to have it at full 100% graphic fidelity, everything put to ultra are you insane levels, but they actually expect 120 FPS. And yes, while it might seem like a masturbatory action, I'm just saying that they've set the expectation, and they've set the wrong expectation.
Sure. So
which MMO by the way was that?
I don't remember. That's why I didn't name it by title. PC gamers are the worst.
No, we're not.
No, I'm not talking about you. PC gamers are the fucking worst.
No, we're not.
The worst
PC
people.
Master Race,
The
bitch.
worst people alive. So, the next show is the Guerrilla Collective, which went on through 3 days. Now, I saw the first day, and it was solid. I missed the next 2 days. Unfortunately, there were other things that happened. And you didn't know they existed until about 40 minutes ago. So, you combined these games a lot with your PC gaming show games.
I did.
So maybe we'll talk about both these shows together.
Well, I mean, go through your list.
Well, there was some crossover between them because a lot of the Guerrilla Collective stuff was indie stuff that I'll give this to PC. Big platform for indie titles.
Yeah.
So I'll blast PC Gamer right now then, because I was going to do that. I wrote boring like every other year, dominated by white people, a slog like everything PC Gamer has a hand in, but there are some decent looking titles. And now that I've shit on PC Gamer, let's talk about things Carlos Onsmora from Guerrilla Collective and PC Gamer.
Okay.
The PC Gaming Show. So yeah, the Guerrilla Collective show is called Guerrilla Collective, and the PC Gaming Show is called the PC Gaming Show. I want to get these titles correct, so that because we're professionals apparently. I want more of Uragun, which is a top-down shmup. Almighty, Kill Your Gods, which is an action RPG. Yep. Boyfriend Dungeon, which is a Diablo-like mix of that and dating sim, where and it's not just boyfriends you need to make. You can make girlfriends or gender non-conforming romantic partners that then power you up for the boyfriend dungeon.
Okay, stop for a second.
Go ahead.
No.
Dave, do you need me to use a speculum to open your asshole so you can get unconstipated?
I saw that game, and I just kind of groaned.
I groaned too, but not in the way you want to hear. My groan was more like, Oh, yeah. So I know this game is out on PC, but I didn't know much about it until I saw this trailer, and now I really want to play it. Disco Elysium.
Oh, yes.
An RPG, which looks like a blast.
A very open style RPG that, depending on how you build your character, the story can be completely different.
I've heard it compared favorably to Planescape Torment, and that's a very good game. So, West of Dead, which starred a cowboy skullface guy voiced by Ron Perlman. Ultra Kill by New Blood.
Yes.
Now, New Blood, they did Dusk, they did a Medieval, and now they're doing Ultra Kill, which has the URL devilmayquake.com, which should give you an idea of what kind of game it is. It's basically a Doom or a Quake with Devil May Cry sensibilities and a grading system, and it focuses on style above all else. That game looks like a blast, and I can't wait to get my hands on that one.
They said one of their inspirations was Bulletstorm, which was another amazing shooter with wacky hijinks and a rating system.
We're all wrong sometimes. So, I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry. Come here. Give me a hug. Give me
Did you honestly not like the game?
Bulletstorm? No, my problem with Bulletstorm is that the cool stuff was separated by your walk speed being slow and there being nothing but hit scanners that really dissuades you from using your grappling hook to be cool. I'm hoping Ultra Kill, which looks like it moves a lot faster, will remedy the situation.
Hey, I got nothing wrong with that.
Sure. Gestalt Steam and Cinder, which kind of looks like Symphony of the Night if your main character looked a lot like Calamity Jane. It's like a Western. She has cool red hair, a cool hat, and attack strings that remind me of Zero from the Mega Man X games.
Which is hilarious that we're seeing more Symphony of the Night style games popping up since
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Bloodstained really brought back we want these games.
Bloodstained is adding a randomizer to it.
I know.
I love that. I wish more games did that.
They're also adding a new character that changes up the storyline.
Yeah, I heard the Switch version finally got patched to be just as good as the other ones, so...
It took them some time, unfortunately.
It did. Haven. Did you see Haven?
Not ringing a bell.
Haven is the one that starts with a man and a woman in a bed, and they're very strongly implied to be a couple.
Yes.
And they're on this barren world where they have to co-op explore it with rocket.
Yes.
With rocket boots. It looks super neat. It's like Breath of the Wild, but with romance. Just Die Already. Now that's the one where it had the naked old man who was, it's like this open world thing where elderly people get to just run roughshod over a cityscape. During the trailer, there were multiple shoutouts to Hideo Kojima, including a really long blurb about how he really would like to talk to Hideo Kojima. It was comical. It was meant to be like, this dev's a fucking weirdo.
Okay.
Looked kind of neat. Gory, Cuddly Carnage, which is about this cute anthropomorphic cat thing violently killing things. Vigil, The Longest Night, which looks like the Symphony of the Night and Dark Souls had a baby. 30XX, which is the sequel to 20XX. Now, 20XX you and I co-op ran through and beat. Mm-hmm. Fun game. I actually got on Switch to show Kiki. 30XX actually looks even better. It looks even closer to Mega Man X.
So you played through it on Switch now?
No, I played through it with you.
But you bought it on Switch to play?
Yes, that's okay. Right. It was on sale.
Something that you wouldn't have seen when we were playing, but you do have to finish it a few times to get and unlock parts of the story.
Yeah,
that's you never really saw. Just mentioning that because you didn't get to see that, unfortunately, when we did that.
No, that's fine. Next game on my list was Star Renegades, but I don't recall now, just saying that, what kind of game that was.
I don't know.
Corrupt, which is a 2D fighter that looks Killer Instinct-ish. Honestly, I think this was the only 2D fighter I've seen in this Not-E3 so far, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Undungeon, which is an action RPG that looks pretty neat. Spellbreak. Spellbreak is a battle royale game, but everyone's a fucking avatar mage. You know Sypha from the Castlevania Netflix series? Mm-hmm. Everyone's her.
Okay.
That looks like fun.
Could be.
Some announcements were released the same day. I've actually bought 2 of them. Rigid Force Redux, which is a R-Type Gradius type of game.
Yeah.
For the Switch. It's a blast. I've been having a good time playing it. Out Buddies DX, which is Metroidvania. I bought it, but I haven't played it yet. I also bought Children of Morta because the Guerrilla Show showed some free DLC for it, and it looks like this cool Diablo-like that I've never heard of before until this.
That one's an interesting one in that you're playing a family, and it's a generational kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to say.
Okay. No, you can spoil shit. It's not going to stop.
Oh, no. It's just, this game is awesomely done. I actually have it for free through the Xbox Games Pass.
Cool. Okay. Neat. Yeah. On the PC gaming side of things, I want to see more of Torchlight 3.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay, let's talk about Torchlight.
They done fucked up.
What happened?
Torchlight, okay, well, number one, they had massive server issues when they launched the early access.
Okay.
These things happen. I'm not going to shun them for that.
Sure.
However, what I will shit on them is, this game is obviously a free-to-play, microtransaction-ridden hellscape that they're now trying to turn into Torchlight 3.
And I see, I didn't know that.
It is... If you enjoyed Torchlight 1 or Torchlight 2, you're not going to enjoy Torchlight 3, because it is a watered-down, brutalized version of what should have been Torchlight 3.
Understood. I will keep that in mind.
And if you check out Torchlight 3's comments and ratings page, you will see that Torchlight 3 has been rated into the fucking dirt.
Understood. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't know that. Airborne Kingdom. Now, this is interesting because even though it looks cool, I don't even know what kind of game this is. Is it a city builder where you build a floating city? Is it a war game, real-time strategy? I don't know, but it looks cool.
No one knows. It just looks neat.
Humankind, which I've actually been following for a while, for years now. That's that Civilization-like game that Sega's publishing.
The one that we are starting to have doubts whether Sega's ever going to actually release.
Yeah, doubts, lots of doubts. Godfall.
Yes.
Looking pretty good.
Which is funny, seeing as it's from Ubisoft.
Proteus. Now, Proteus is a retro-looking FPS. It even uses sprites.
Yep.
But they're sprites that look very 3D-ish. Civi 11, shoutouts to Civi 11, actually did a video of the pre-alpha of this game. We can watch that after if you like.
Okay.
I like Civi. Civi 11, shoutouts to you. Your voice is very soothing and comforting.
Love watching him play through all the games.
Oh man, his Rise of the Triad video when he was talking about Enemy brought back, like, it was cathartic. It was good cathartic, but also horrifying cathartic.
For me, the highlight of games that he's played was Blood for me.
The
different versions of Blood that he has played through is just such a reaching back into my past, because literally Blood was the last game I played purely on a keyboard before I upgraded to keyboard and mouse.
You know, if we spend the rest of this podcast talking about how awesome Civ 11 is, I think this will be time well spent. So, I like when Civ 11 played through Plutonia Experiment, because it reminded me how good Plutonia Experiment was and how evil Plutonia Experiment is.
Yep.
I love his cadence, the way he talks about games. Like, he's an obvious nerd, but obviously a little bit jaded, but not to the point where he's like irritating or unlikable. He's cool, man. Civ 11's cool. Fae Tactics, which looks like a 2D Final Fantasy Tactics or even Tactics Ogre style game. Mm-hmm. Everspace 2, which looks like a space combat sim.
Nah.
Blightbound. Blightbound looks like a darker take on the Capcom Dungeons and Dragons beat-em-ups. Yep. Or even something like that one really well-drawn one that I can't remember anymore. Dragon's Crown? Is that the name? Yeah, I think so. I have Cris Tales listed here. We've already talked a lot about it.
Yes, we have.
Alaloth, Champions of the Four Kingdoms, which is a super stylish Diablo-like. Weird West. What the fuck was Weird West, and why do I have it on my list?
Wasn't that the Wild Wild West with aliens and other...
Yeah, that's the one. That one looked fucking cool. And the last one I have on my list is the Dungeon of, and I know I'm pronouncing this wrong, Nihayuelbuk. Felicia Day's in it. It's kind of a tactical D&D inspired game.
Yeah.
Looks pretty neat. Do you have any PC ones that I haven't mentioned?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
Panzer Dragoon.
Panzer Dragoon's coming to PC?
Yeah, there's an actual Kickstarter being made for a PC brand new Dragoon game. Yeah.
Was that on the PC Gaming Show?
It would have to be because I've got it on my list.
I don't remember seeing that as part of the show.
Okay.
Then again, I also dozed off a few times. So.
Well, and a couple of mine are even from just stuff that's come out up until today.
Okay, fine.
Hollow Knight Silksong. That continues and will no doubt be amazing, just like Hollow Knight was. Probably one of the best Metroidvanias in years. Not to mention, I'd almost say that was a Dark Souls Metroidvania, because that game was hard. Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access.
Just being hard doesn't make a thing of Souls-like.
True.
Sorry, I probably should have mentioned that before you went off the topic, but...
True. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is getting early access to the game.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, simply because, I wouldn't be jumping into that as much as I love Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, simply because I want to play the game as it's going to be in the end. Mm-hmm. I don't want to early access that stuff because I find the more that I play early access games, by the time it hits the retail finished version, I no longer care.
Yeah, you're kind of burnt out on it.
Exactly.
That's why I don't do that.
Beta testing can be neat, but you burn yourself out before it gets to retail.
The only time I've ever done that was with Chasm. I played a bunch of the Chasm Alpha. I left the developers a metric ton of feedback. One item was actually taken. And that's the one where dual-handed weapons don't take up both your weapon buttons. But otherwise, yeah, to get a taste for things, sure. But otherwise, I'd rather just have the whole thing right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, XCOM Transformers game.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not on my list.
Probably because it doesn't look that great.
I don't know.
Listen, I love Transformers. You know that about me.
I looked within and I know this to be true.
Did you use the Matrix?
I used something.
Listen, every game that has tried to copy the XCOM style in the last few years has always been missing a crucial element to what made XCOM good. I have no faith that Transformers is going to pull this off with the current owners and writers of the Transformers stuff. So,
hey, how sad is it that a good outlet for your XCOM fix is Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle?
I'm going to forget you said that. I'm seriously going to forgive you for that as a one-time thing. Because that game was hot garbage.
We live in a universe where there is a Mario Rabbids crossover game that is literally an XCOM game.
Yeah, I thought about getting that for my Switch. I tried a friend's version for a day or two. And maybe I'm just XCOM'd out. That is a possibility. But it wasn't very good. It just wasn't. I mean, then again, I think I've gone over the whole rabbits phase as well. I find them just super annoying now, rather than...
I wonder how many people remember that these guys came from Rayman.
Yep. The System Shock Redux.
The System Shock Redux.
Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. That was on the PC Gaming Show, but there was a trailer of that. There's an Alex Kidd Miracle World game, a remake being made with new levels, new story, new everything. That game, there's a friend of mine, a friend of ours. You know who he is, but a big part of my childhood was me and him trying to beat Alex Kidd Miracle World.
Yeah.
And man, it took a while because that game was brutal. There were actually some missing story beats that I'm hoping this will cover, and maybe a true final boss, which that game lacked.
Okay, good. Persona 4 Gold and PC release.
What's funny is that a bunch of our friends pointed out that was on Steam before the PC Gaming Show announced it was out now.
Yep.
Which is kind of funny. Timing was a little off on that. A friend and occasional guest of the show, Poe, has already purchased this copy and is playing through it yet again.
I've bought it as well. Because look, don't just buy a game to support a studio. That's not a good thing to do either if you're not going to play it. But for fuck's sakes, show your support right now for Persona 4 Golden, because this is the first time they brought Persona to the PC. This is the first time we've seen it on the Golden at least, on a non-portable system. Unless you count the PS TV, which I don't.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's nice to see this game in high fidelity on PC or any system at this point in time. This could lead, if it sells well enough, and Sega said they've been impressed with the sales, we could see Persona 5 on PC as well.
Sega, you mean Atlas, right? Or did Sega
Which is Sega.
This? Well, yeah, Atlas and Sega are they the same company?
Sega owns Atlas.
Oh, cool. That's good.
And this was done by Sega of Japan.
People have been modding that game to let you finally romance Yosuke, which should have always been an option. Hang on, we have to talk about this now. Best girl, go.
In 4?
Yeah.
I always thought Chie.
Wrong answer. The correct answer is Yukiko or Rise. Or the hypothetical fusion of the two, Rise-ko.
No, I always liked Chie.
Of course you would like Chie. The most irritating character in the world.
No, that was the bear.
Oh yeah, right. Teddy's in this game.
Yes.
Shit.
See, you can't even argue that.
I didn't finish it, but I did get pretty far in the game. I had gotten Naoto, and then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of bored. I'm just going to read about what happens. I underleveled this game so hard. I beat every dungeon the first possible time I could go to it.
Well, yeah, that's
when characters would join me. When characters would join me, they would join me 15 to 30 levels ahead of me. That's how underleveled I was, and crazy. I did it.
Crazy. Then again, that game allows you to pull stuff like that off, so why not? And in a unfortunate piece of news, Blood Rain franchise is being resurrected. We don't know why it's being resurrected.
Who asked for this?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out. Did Majesco just get it on a 99-cent or less deal?
Is there a new Underworld movie coming out? Is that why Blood Rain came back? I
wouldn't be surprised.
Because they're kind of the same thing. They're like, the vampires are cool and goth, but cool, and they're not.
Look, while I didn't like either franchise, let's not compare Underworld that actually had some decent writers versus Blood Rain.
That might be the least true thing you've ever said.
Hey, Underworld 1 actually was a decent movie. Blood Rain never had a good game or movie.
Right, let's correct a few falsehoods that just came out of your mouth. Underworld 1 was hot garbage, except for the one scene where the main character slashes the guy and then does the katana thing where she has her back turned and then he falls apart. That was cool. Literally the only cool part about that movie. And Blood Rain was never cool. So, okay, that part you got right. Blood Rain could be cool if the right developer got their hands on it.
Majesco? Really? That's already a failure at the beginning.
No, it shouldn't be Majesco. I'm talking like fucking Capcom. Like...
Well, yeah, but Capcom under the right environment, the right writers, can, I believe, pretty much make any game good.
Yeah.
But it can't be the guys behind Street Fighter.
You're not wrong.
So that's all I've got for PC and Guerrilla Games, yeah.
So the next show was the Future Game Show, which was on June 13th. I didn't get a chance to watch this one. I had to watch a recap. They had more info on Kina Bridge of Spirits. It's like some more actual extended gameplay. Mm-hmm. More on Ghost Runner, which wasn't a new announcement for this. We've seen Ghost Runner being shown off.
Yeah.
It's like that speedrunning first-person platformer. They showed something called Morbid, which is a 2D Diablo-like with guns and eldritch horrors. When I say 2D, I mean it mechanically seems to play like a Diablo, including the grid-based inventory. But visually, it looks like a pixel art top-down game. Mm-hmm. So in addition to the fantasy trappings, you have guns as well.
Yeah.
Windjammers 2, which reminds me that I have to play more of Windjammers 1.
Never played it, never cared to.
It was made by SNK, I believe. It was a Neo Geo game. Basically, fighting game Frisbee. It's fucking cool as shit.
Nah. I believe we called it Tron back in my day.
There's a lot of Tron to this game, actually. It's like if Deadly Discs wasn't trash, basically. The next one happened 8 days later. 8 days later. Sorry, my math is off. 5 days later. And that was EA Play Live 2020, which happened on June 18th. The only game out of this whole thing that I give two fucks to talk about anything about is Star Wars Squadrons. But you have some other things to say, so let's go through that, and then we'll talk about Star Wars Squadrons.
Okay. This show was hot garbage.
Oh yeah, no, it's EA. Of course it was.
No. I mean, this was worse than normal. This was like they decided to channel Sony from 2 years ago, but without any of the production value.
This thing wasn't even an hour, and it felt like 3.
I mean, you're right. Squadrons was the biggest announcement to come out of there, at least for interest for us. The other announcement, I guess I could say was looked forward to and hoped for was Skate 4.
Yeah, Skate 4 is going to make some people happy.
I mean, only reason that I give two shits about Skate 4 is because I keep on hoping that
SSX Tricky 2.
SSX...
The Revolution.
4 will happen.
SSX Tricky 2, World Revolution. You have to snowboard as Lavos bursts through the crust.
God, that would be awesome. This show was poorly done. They patted themselves on the shoulder. They talked about bringing their games to Steam as if that was at all something anybody gave a shit about.
They also talked bringing their games to Switch, which is another thing that is kind of, hey, no shit, Sherlock, how is this a talking point?
Well, you have to remember that when the Switch came out, and for the first easily year of its life cycle, EA basically said that we're not going to build games for a failed console.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
And then when they did release the FIFA game of that year on it turned out to be the year before's version. It wasn't actually that year's version. And they sold it for full price, saying that it's 2019 when it was 2018.
Oh yeah, no, EA is evil. Let's be quite frank. Like, EA, Activision, fucking Bethesda, evil corporations.
What really got me about this one was when they were patting themselves on the back. Like, as if that they were helping out Black Lives Matters, that they were doing such great things for charities and everything else. And this is fucking EA. Come on.
The other day, J. Allen Brack from Blizzard was talking about what his company is doing to combat racism. And I'm like, you stupid... I won't be shocked if there was a Jimquisition we missed about it this morning. We should probably check.
Yeah, because...
Shout out to Jim Sterling.
Blizzard Activision is not a company that should be saying anything about battling racism.
Yeah, let's hope they don't buy Mortal Kombat. Then again...
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
WB getting rid of their game franchises for sale.
Yeah.
And that every company that's interested are the worst choices for them.
I kind of want Capcom to buy them so that we actually get Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter.
Yeah, but they would go the whole DC versus Mortal Kombat thing where there's no violence.
Who cares?
No.
I am willing to have a Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter with absolutely no gore.
I'm not. If I'm playing a Mortal Kombat game, if there's one thing I want in Mortal Kombat game is I want my fucking ultra violence. That is where I go for ultra violent games. I want to see Scorpion rip out the fucking spine of Ryu. Why not?
Capcom would fight that so tooth and nail.
Of course they would, which is why Capcom's not a good choice.
But man, what if there's Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter though? And it doesn't have to be violent.
What happened to Mortal Kombat versus DC?
It sucked.
It sucked.
It had nothing to do with the ultra violence. It played like shit though.
No. You automatically pissed off your core base of Mortal Kombat supporters.
I played this game at Ranbats. It controlled like ass.
Okay,
thanks. I'm sorry you don't like that I have talked to other people and played video games with them, Mom.
No, that's fine. If it was the controls that kept people away, I know a great deal of the Mortal Kombat fan base was like, no, we're not touching this. Make a new game. Don't try and put two series together and then nerf what one series is about. That's all I'm saying. It sounds great to have Mortal Kombat characters fighting Street Fighter characters. I get that. I get the idea of crossovers. But one half of that formula is just going to say, I'm not playing this fucking game because part of what this gives me, I'm not getting. Also, Capcom doesn't have the rain chops to pull off a Mortal Kombat game. There, I said it.
No, maybe they should buy fucking WB Interactive to get their writers to make their fighting game story modes actually not garbage.
You know something? That would work. Because if one thing the Mortal Kombat creators have done is come up with amazing ongoing storylines for its fucking Mortal Kombat games. I cannot argue that. Street Fighter needs that. But I'm worried they take all the writers off of that and basically kill Mortal Kombat.
You're listening to the EA Play recap here on Two Fat Guys Talk. It says a lot about that shitty show that we tangented wildly off to something else that's far more interesting.
Let's bring it back for a moment to the thing that we're both interested in.
Star Wars Squadrons.
Squadrons.
Looking good. I'm actually kind of hyped for this one.
We've seen gameplay now.
I've read developer interviews about how they're handling things like resource management and how it's going to be more simplified from the original games, which I actually agree with. Something in X-Wing and TIE Fighter that I didn't like is that they tried to make you use your whole damn keyboard.
Yes.
And I'm like, this could be simplified, not removed, simplified. Mm-hmm. They also made an interesting change where unshielded craft can more efficiently transfer their energy between systems. And shielded craft have a bit of a wind-up, so you can't immediately just dump all your engine power into lasers. You could do that, but then you'll stall. An unshielded craft won't do that. So there's a bit of a balance thing that they're actually doing for this.
What I love from the second trailer we got that actually had the gameplay is they said right out that all these things, cosmetics, the extra parts to your ships that you can customize and everything else, will be unlocked through playing the game.
Now, I'm not a big fan of needing to unlock upgrades for your ship in a competitive environment, at least. In the single-player story, no problem. In the multiplayer component, I don't like that I need to unlock things.
But I can get behind that.
I don't dislike that enough to not try this.
Yeah. Like, look, yes, everybody should be able to play with everything right from the get-go. I do believe that. But we're getting a Star Wars game where they're not killing us with microtransactions. It's not a full-cost game. Looks like it has a single-player storyline that you can do both from the Empire and from the Rebellion side. You have two multiplayer modes, which you can play solo with bots. I'm okay with this.
No, I'm actually
like the 5-on-5 fighter combat. Awesome. The capital ship mode is awesome as well. I am behind this wholeheartedly. I do have a couple things I'm a little bit worried about because, like, for the capital ship one, if it's literally 5-on-5 with capital ships, I'd expect there to be a lot more bots with other ships involved there.
Yeah, you want some, like, the fights you get in TIE Fighter.
When I come in with a fucking Star Destroyer, I don't say, launch the squadron.
Launch 5 ships.
I want to launch all my ships, bitch.
Do we know what ships are going to be in it? Like, all I know for sure is that the X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, the TIE Interceptor, and the A-Wing are in. I'm not sure what other ships are available.
There's 5 from each side.
I'm going to assume the Y-Wing and the B-Wing are in.
Y-Wing is not.
Good.
The U-boat is in.
Good. Nobody likes the Y-Wing.
Fuck you!
Y-Wing garbage.
Y-Wing was not garbage.
The B-Wing was basically the Y-Wing, but better in every way.
Okay, well, I can't.
Yeah.
Wait, no, hang on. No, the Y-Wing is in. It's your bomber.
Yeah, they should just use the B-Wing because it's way better.
Sorry, I was fucking up my Y-Wing and my B-Wing.
Right.
B-Wing should be in there. It's not. The Y-Wing...
They don't have the B-Wing! Why would you not have the B-Wing and put in the Y-Wing?
Because the Y-Wing is the exact counter to the
TIE Bomber.
The TIE Bomber.
Fuck. You know what other ship shouldn't have been in? The TIE Bomber.
But the TIE Bomber has its place, though, in this 5-on-5.
No, it doesn't. The Empire has assault gunboats and missile boats, all of which are basically the TIE bomber, but cooler and better.
I get why they chose what they did.
I guess. We already have so many TIEs. There's going to be the Interceptor, the basic fighter. I'm assuming the TIE Advanced is in there somewhere.
Advanced is not in it.
What am I even looking forward to this game for now? Like, what the fuck? Next you're going to tell me there's no TIE Defender. I knew there was going to be no TIE Defender. It would have to be the most broken ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, like, it looks...
Did they at least put a mecha in there? Why has Star Wars never had a mecha? Can we talk about this for a minute? How has no point in Star Wars, in any extended universe thing, ever had a mecha? How has there never been a Gundam in Star Wars?
The closest thing that we've had to a Gundam was the Dark Force.
The Dark Trooper?
The Dark Trooper, yeah.
That was just a robot, though.
No, that was a human in the suit.
Oh, sorry. Okay, but
that was a human in a giant robot suit.
It's not a Gundam, though. Not a Gundam.
Sorry, it's not 10 feet tall.
I want a Gundam. Gundams even have lightsabers, and Gundam has the Force. Wait, maybe I just answered my own question.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, Squadrons looks like the best thing that EA is bringing out. And we're already seeing the effect of Disney going to EA and saying, look, we expect more than one game a year from our Star Wars franchise. Do this. Make good games that don't piss off our player base, or you're losing the license.
I like that Disney has told another company to not be evil while committing the most evil egresses ever elsewhere on the planet. But hey... It got me Squadrons, so that one platformer they showed looked pretty cool until I heard it was like a forced co-op thing.
Yeah. EA wants to do its sports games and rake in the billions of dollars a year and put in no effort. That's basically EA's MO. The fact that they are being forced to put effort into the Star Wars franchise again and not being allowed to cancel everything is, you're right, one of the few good things Disney has done.
I'm looking forward to Squadrons.
And it comes out in October or November, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's this year. My next talking point is simply titled, A Lot I Actually Want to Play. And I was going to talk about, again, this... I'm surprised at how many games I actually want out of this Not-E3 various showcases. Even EA generated a pretty hype title I wanted. Even EA.
Even Ubisoft.
Sure.
I mean, Gods and Monsters, which is getting a name change, by the way, is there. There's another one by Ubisoft I'm interested in. But we haven't gotten Ubisoft stuff yet. We haven't gotten Microsoft's.
Well, the next section is upcoming that I have. So
okay, well,
maybe we'll jump to upcoming stuff.
Jump in, yeah.
Coming. I'm going to put an echo effect on that. Of course. So what's upcoming? June 22nd, we're going to find out what ARMS character made it into Smash Brothers.
No one cares.
Greetings, folks. Carlos here with an editing breaking news update. There is actually going to be a presentation on Monday, June 22nd from the Game Awards. They're part of their Summer of Gaming event that is set to include Crash Bandicoot 4. This was just announced today on Sunday, June 21st, a pretty big deal, and something I'm looking forward to, and I'm pretty sure Dave is as well. That's going to be something to look forward to as well. Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
The big one, June 23rd, the New Game Plus Expo, NGPX. There are rumored big announcements from Atlus and Sega. I've even heard the rumor of Persona 6 being announced. But there's some big names here. Inta Creates and WayForward, which are basically sister companies at this point. Arc System Works, SNK, and a big surprise for me is Natsume. And that to me means clearly they're going to announce a new Pocky and Rocky, right? Mm-hmm. It's been a while. But no, there's some big names to this. I think we're going to get some hype shit. June 23rd happens to be the birthday of Sonic the Hedgehog as well. So I'm kind of hoping we see some kind of Sonic Mania sequel.
Well, you're not going to see Sonic Mania sequel, mainly because Sega has broken ties with the guy who made Sonic Mania 1.
Well, so, I hope they rekindle
that's dead in the water. As far as Sega's doing this whole big thing on looking back at their old franchises. We're getting more rumors of a Skies of Arcadia remake.
Yeah, because the one on GameCube kind of sucked, so...
Yeah, downgrade in almost every way from what I understand.
They added stuff and then they made the music worse and the graphics somehow worse, even though the GameCube outpowers the Dreamcast by a wide margin.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing as far as from Atlas about being Persona 6. That would be all kinds of awesome, especially if they announced it as a simultaneous release. Because, honestly, how do I put this without coming across as an asshole?
No, please, come across as an asshole.
Non-Japanese gamers are getting tired of getting their games a year to 2 years later than Japan.
Well, there's definitely arguments to make that the Persona series has enough international appeal that they should consider a worldwide release.
Yeah.
Kind of like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And they improved it from Persona 4 Golden in Persona 5, but they've really got to take... Look, we understand this game is taking place in Japan. We get it. But you got to start writing your questions and answers in things that are obscure Japanese lore.
No, that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. If it takes place in Japan, they can have things based off Japanese lore. Do your homework if you want to know about it. That's where the story takes place. Just like if they based Persona 6 on some group of school kids in Toronto, I would expect that there might be some Canadian lore stories or a maple syrup monster of some kind.
Maple syrup monster.
What I do think, though, is Atlas has been... They have taken some heat for writing storylines that are somewhat homophobic or transphobic.
Yep. Even when they try and fix it.
I think you're still allowed to enjoy these games, even if you don't agree with what Atlas does. I do hope Atlas has listened, and there's actually some real representation in a new Persona, or whatever they bring out next. But what do you do? The other things that are upcoming, there's going to be a Devolver Direct sometime in July. That's all we know.
Yeah.
Some kind of Xbox presentation is happening in July. And we have heard nothing about the next Nintendo Direct. I hope we hear something about it on the 22nd, but I don't have any hopes for that because Nintendo Direct.
I heard that was a 35-minute thing that was just going to be the release of the ARMS character.
Now they talked about that and they said they weren't going to talk about the next fighter. They never said there wouldn't be any news about a new Direct.
I guess.
So, and that's my entire printout here.
So, I am looking forward to what they show for the next Halo game. Granted, I mean, Halo 4 was not a great game. I didn't even bother playing Halo 5. So if Halo 6 is actually good again, and they've already stated that they've admitted they made a mistake with Halo 5 in not having split screen.
They didn't have split screen?
Why do you think we never played it?
Well, I probably wouldn't have anyway. Halo 4 made me so bad.
I get that, but Halo 5's story kind of interests me a little bit, but I get my fun from that game from playing it alongside you, just like with Gears of War.
I'm not sure any game series could have pissed me off more than what Halo 4 did. Halo 4 fucking ruined the multiplayer by making you have to grind out upgrades instead of what Reach did, which is just grinding out cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
They put QuickTime events in the story. The final boss was a QuickTime event. Yep. The weapons felt wrong. The story was all kinds of whack.
Yeah.
Fuck Halo 4.
And
story should have ended at 3. I still want Master Chief and Smash, though.
I would be okay with that. All I'm saying is, it looks like with Halo 6, they're trying to go back to what made the game good. They've admitted to some of the mistakes they made with 4, tried to rectify those with 5, but still went the wrong direction. I guess somebody at the Halo, is it 443?
Is it 343?
Yes, thank you. Management there basically decided they were going to try and sell more copies. by getting rid of the split screen. They wanted their excuse was that they want people to see it in all its glory no matter what. And the middle finger you just flipped is perfectly valid because that game sold the worst of the entire series and got even more hate for it than Halo 4. While recognizing they did make some impressive moves in how the story.
That is the only thing that interests me about Halo 5.
Yeah.
Especially since we got Nathan Fillion there.
So Halo 6 looks like a return to basics. Bring back split screen, doing...
You alright there, buddy?
Oh, that actually kind of hurt. And trying to work on their story and everything else. So the little bit that we've seen so far, I like how it's starting. We'll see where it goes. But ultimately, that's all I've got for upcoming Microsoft games. I mean, Microsoft bought all these studios, but because we haven't had anything from Microsoft yet, I don't know what to be excited for yet.
Maybe we'll see a Halo collection on Switch. It could happen. Don't even take that off the table.
They did just bring up the collection for PC. Finally. All I can keep on thinking is if they had done that on PC years ago, what some of our friends could have done with the stage builders and stuff like that.
Yeah, add some scripting to it so we didn't have to play with shitty house rules.
Yeah.
Suck. Dave, we are probably going to do another one of these next time we get together in this bunker, because what it is we're still in our underground bunkers, but we found a place where the walls are thin enough that we can talk to each other, so we literally set up mics. The next time that the Earth's crust move and these bunkers are together, we'll have to do another update on this. I'm personally looking forward to see what NGPX has to show.
Yes.
But we'll see. Folks, why don't you tell us what you have thought of Not-E3 2020, The Reckoning so far, in the form of a voicemail. If you go to our site, twofatguystalk.com, click on send voicemail, send us a voicemail, let us know what you thought. Or leave us a comment with what you thought. And, yeah, that's where you can find us. Looking forward to more Not-E3.
Tune in next time.
Goodbye.